FM, Farmington. This program is supported by MyLabs, patient-ordered testing. San Juan Regional Medical Center is expanding its services to offer low-cost blood screenings year-round. Now offering walk-in convenience to get the blood tests you want when you want them. MyLabs, patient-ordered testing, is available at the hospital's laboratory and the Outpatient Diagnostic Center on 30th Street in Farmington. With nearly 20 tests available, there's an option for everyone. MyLabs, patient-ordered testing, a wellness service of San Juan Regional Medical Center. "11 minutes past 8 o'clock. It is Monday morning, October 15th. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to KSJE 90.9 FM. I'm Scott Michlin, and coming up in just a moment, my guest will be talking about healthcare for seniors and some of the many, many choices that are available. There's some information coming out in a special seminar gathering tomorrow that we'll be talking about in just a moment here on KSJE. So that is coming up in the next few moments. Also want to remind you that later on this hour, we'll be turning to politics at 8:30, and my guest in the visual radio studio will be one of the candidates for the New Mexico Court of Appeals judge, is current sitting judge Hank Bonhoff. He will be here at 8:30 on KSJE, and we will round out the 8 o'clock hour as we do every Monday, talking about technology with our Monday Reboot segment with my guest Lewis Campbell from Synergy Computer Systems here in Farmington. Roving with the Arts coming up at 9, and today Mick Hess is playing some music from Beethoven on Roving with the Arts at 9. He'll be sharing some arts news for us, of course. That is all ahead today on KSJE, and again, we welcome our visual radio watchers on Facebook and YouTube. Welcome aboard, everybody, and we hope you will tune in and check out our visual radio streaming live on the KSJE Facebook page and YouTube channel. But let me introduce my guests who are here with me this morning in the studio. Terry Hayes is here. He is now with Senior Solutions in Farmington. Terry, good morning.
Good morning, Scott. Thank you for having us.
Thank you for being here. Great to see you and have you here. And also Carol Chiarito is here, and she is with CarematchAmerica. Carol, good morning to you.
Good morning to you.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
And you are visiting us from Colorado.
Pueblo, Colorado.
All right. And Terry, you have brought Carol to the community to talk about these issues with senior health care and medical care and the confusing world that it is.
I did. I am. I saw Carol a couple months ago at a state meeting and knew about her, and she was kind enough to schedule a meeting for us tomorrow at the Marriott.
Okay, and so you're going to have 2 sessions tomorrow, right? And these are free for folks to come and learn more about what we're talking about, right?
We are. We're having our first one at 3 o'clock at the Marriott and one at 6 o'clock. And there's, if you could RSVP, I'll give you a telephone number, but it's open to the public for anyone to come by, but it is a free event. Okay, all right. And Carol, what do you hope to get across to folks tomorrow at this event? Because when we start talking about healthcare for seniors and some of the varying plans or some of the healthcare needs of seniors, it becomes complicated, for me at least, very quickly.
Right. And what we specialize at my company, CarematchAmerica, is elder care and elder care resources. And I think when people go into the elder care journey, they're not quite sure which way to turn. And we help navigate that course. And throughout the country, we've set up specialty advisors. And that's how Terry and I have come to know each other, because he is a care match advisor that helps people actually navigate the elder care course. But backing it up a little bit to try to get people to have these conversations before the actual quote-unquote disaster happens, that you're running around frantically trying to find a place. We're trying to get those conversations started earlier on in the process. And so talk to me a little bit about that, because we were talking before we came on the air a little bit this morning about some of these things, and if I have an older mother, father, grandparent, and everything is seemingly fine, but then all of a sudden, boom, there's a heart attack or a stroke or something, and now the family has to make some really important and big decisions in a really short amount of time. Sometimes immediately.
Right.
one of our sayings is we all want to grow old, we just don't plan to grow old. So it's more than buying a long-term care policy or buying a life insurance policy. You got to know where you're going to go between the time that you buy it and the time that you use it. And so having a conversation with your children or having a conversation with your parents about what they want when that time comes is key. And we even talk about taking tours and visiting the local assisted livings or independent livings or even nursing homes, skilled nursing homes, so that as a senior, I am in control of where I want to go when that time comes, and my family knows that, so that it's not my decision. I had to make those decisions for my mom, and I was responsible for her well-being. I was responsible for her happiness. And it's a very daunting job to be worried about, do you like it here? Are they treating you well? All those things. It's hard as a child. And so I think that if parents really understand that, they don't want to put that whole burden on the children. It really needs to be a decision of the whole family or family and friends.
Sure.
In that case.
That makes a lot of sense. And Terry Hayes, I know for a lot of families, the issue is maybe financial. How do I pay for this care from my mom or elderly parent or grandparent or things like that? That's another thing to keep in mind, right? And is that something that you can help with?
What we've done, and Medicare is a journey all in its own, and Medicaid, but with my generation, everyone's turning eligible for Medicare, and it is very confusing. So my job is to guide people through that situation, and then there are some financial products that can enhance that, letting them know the pitfalls if you don't do that. Mm-hmm. But the Medicare journey is very, very confusing to most people, and I simply just simplify that.
Right. And so, again, this event that you've got planned for tomorrow at the Marriott, it's a free event for folks to come, and you will kind of go through the steps, or at least let them know some of the options and other things that are available depending on the individual circumstances, because I know it's very hard to talk in generalities about these issues because every family is unique and different.
What we're going to do tomorrow is I'm going to share a conversation about the high-level overview of elder care. So what are the different types, from home health non-medical, home health medical, and what are the levels of care? What do they all mean? How do they differ from one another? How do you pay for them? What's the difference between Medicare and Medicaid? What does one cover and one doesn't? Who's going to need care, and how to have those conversations? And then we really want everyone to come and bring their questions, bring their thoughts, bring what they're afraid of, so that we can help answer those questions. It really is designed to be a conversation about elder care.
And so even if you have an elderly parent or grandparent in your household who isn't in need of this care right away, it's still important to bring those questions or have these conversations.
Perfect time. Yes, you need to have those conversations now.
Right. And there's a lot of families I know who are listening and watching us this morning who can probably see that they're in this maybe situation, or maybe will be asking these questions in the not too distant future.
Could be tomorrow.
It could be tomorrow. That's very true. Terry, this is a new endeavor for you.
It is.
A little bit, right? Because I think a lot of folks would know you and your name as dealing with other types of insurance over the years.
Yeah, I was been in the business 36 years. I retired at the end of March for a whopping 6 weeks.
I was going to say, it didn't take long.
No, yeah. and this is something I've wanted to do, and so I was able to transition into senior solutions and offer to this service. And it's, when people leave my office now, they're pretty happy, and so it's a big need, and I'm able to do that for people, and it brings a lot of joy to me, and people need help, and so
sure.
This meeting we're going to have, hopefully people know they can come in. It's comfortable. There's no product that's going to be driven down on them. It is
not a sales pitch, right?
No sales pitch.
Okay.
No, not at all.
And that's important, because I think a lot of folks do feel a little skeptical maybe,
Sure.
because they're going to get sold something or assigned something or asked to commit to something, and that's not what this event is about.
Absolutely
tomorrow.
Not. We want to share the whole conversation of elder care and get people to start talking amongst themselves and their families about what if. And if most of the people who come and attend come up and feel like they've really learned something and are on a mission to take it to the next step.
Sure. And a lot of people, too, I think, would feel, well, if something happens to mom or dad, they can just move in here. They can live with us, and we'll take care of them, and it won't be an issue, and everything will be fine. And that's great, I think, on the surface, but there are some unseen problems to that, isn't there?
For sure. I think I did that myself when, I wanted my mom to come and live with me. It lasted all of about 4 days. She said she was bored. We didn't do anything. We were always gone. The kids were always going to whatever. But I didn't really have the knowledge or the training to be able to take care of her in the way that she needed to be taken care of. We could have brought people in, but honestly, she was bored. She wanted to be around other people her own age so they could talk about medications or whatever it is they talked about at lunch.
Right, sure. Sure.
She loved the idea that she could go get her hair done whenever she wanted to down the hall. And that made her feel independent. When she was at my home, she relied on us to take her everywhere. And that really caused a little bit of a depression because she was, in a sense, held hostage to our schedule. And so, yeah, it could work for some people, and it does, I think, in the early on years. But when things start to decline, it's really, really hard and sometimes not the best option.
Sure. And I think that's an important thing to think about with our parents or grandparents or whoever, that they are maybe already losing a bit of independence if they're not able to live on their own for whatever reason. It's just mobility or medical reasons or what have you.
Or drive on their own.
Or drive on their own, sure. And so, once they make that change, that's a lot of their independence that's already gone, and then to lose the rest of it if they're maybe in someone's home or dependent on everybody else to get them places or do things for them, that does cause depression, as you said. Mm-hmm. I could see that.
And loneliness, I think, is the number one thing that we see in elders across the country. You can be surrounded by people and still feel very lonely. And so trying to figure all that out and how that's going to work, it's a dynamic all in itself.
Right. And having a TV is not enough.
Right.
On in the room.
Pat Sajak and Wheel of Fortune is probably not the best interaction.
Not going to do it for a full day. That's
right.
True. And so, again, all these things are important conversations to have. And I think even in my situation, when my mother needed some advanced care and things like that, and my sister and I thought that we knew what she wanted and put her in a smaller group home, and that turned out not to be ideal for her because she wanted more interactions with more people, and a bigger facility actually turned out to be a better choice for her. And it just depends on the individual, I suppose.
It does, and that's the biggest piece of why I started CarematchAmerica, because you want to match what it is you want to who can provide those things. In my case, my mom had a little dog, and all I wanted was a place that would accept her to be able to bring her little dog with her. And that was the turning point in the whole search, because animals are the thing nowadays, and people don't want to give up their little animals. And going back to loneliness, that's one of the best cures is for people who have an animal or a
Sure.
cat or a fish, I don't know, whatever it would be.
Right, but
how do
being
you
able to take
find
that with you.
What are you going to do? Go through the yellow pages? Do they exist anymore? I don't even know. But you're going to go through Google and call every single place and ask, do you take pets? Do you take pets? And so that's the whole thing. What is it that you want? What's important to you? And then look for that. And so to have those conversations as a family, to understand what is important to your parents, or for the parents to share with their kids what is important with them, is the first step. But actually, I should back that up. The first step is actually thinking about what is important to you, should the time come.
Sure.
And then sharing that.
And we know everybody wants to stay in their home as long as they can. I mean, that's just
absolutely
what it's all about. But at some point, there may be a time when that's not possible. And so even though it's a tough conversation to have, it's important to have.
It is. And the reality of, I think one of the things that I talk about tomorrow is just to face the reality. I think one of the problems that we all have, myself included, is we tend to compare ourselves to the person we used to be instead of the person that is the same age as us. And so when you're 85, we think about our mom. Oh, I remember my mom used to cook the biggest dinner, and we used to, she used to do all these things. Well, she's 87 now, whatever it is. Compare yourself to people your own age and be real about the things that might lie ahead for you. Don't be in denial, because that's where the problems arise.
Right. Good advice. And Terry Hayes, even though we live in a somewhat smaller community, there are still lots of options, I think, even in the greater San Juan County area for families who are having these conversations, from a nursing facility or skilled nursing to assisted living to home health, and lots of options even here, correct?
We do, and we have a large network of providers that can offer those services that a lot of people would not necessarily know. Like Carol said, you really can't go through the phone book anymore as easily, and it's hard to do it on the internet, but the general dynamics of a family, perfect family, is hard enough without throwing, mom and dad in there, and it's hard on them too. But yeah, we have our community is perfect for this, because we have the ability to reach out through programs like this and your show to, it's very personal.
Right. But if folks are having to make that decision, they should understand that they don't have to make it alone, that there are folks in the community that can help maybe guide them into what may be particularly useful in their current situation.
And we're trying to integrate this with other nonprofits that kind of deal with seniors through different programs, through the senior centers and that type of thing, so that fingers pointed at one direction, and that's us, so that we can help them.
Right. And again, that staying active is a big part of what's next for these seniors that we're talking about. And even though they may not be able to get around on their own, there's still ways that they can get around.
Sure.
And that's important as well. Carol, you've been doing this now for how long would you say?
I came up with the idea almost 10 years ago. We went through the process of designing what we thought we wanted and then testing it out in Colorado to see if it was a viable option. Found out it was a big viable option. I was also a financial advisor for 15 years, and so I think that part of what I saw with my own clients and the dynamics with their families led to where we are today. My mother was diagnosed with Alzheimer's in the middle of it all, and so I took a few years off to be with her and take care of her as much as I could. And then we started up strong a couple of years ago. So now we're national. We're excited about being in so many states across the country, as well as rolling into Canada in the next 6 months or so.
Wow. Well, congratulations. We just have a few minutes left this morning with both of you, and I do want to talk a little bit about finances, because we touched on that a little bit, and I know there may be a lot of families that don't feel they have the financial ability maybe to invest in their parents' or elderly grandparents' care in future years, or maybe mom and dad didn't have that much savings, or they live kind of paycheck to paycheck or Social Security check to Social Security check, and so there's not a lot of extra money lying around in the family. Is that a deal breaker, or is there ways around that sometimes?
There are definitely ways around it, and that's part of what Terry was talking about, and working with the different organizations in town that can help provide services, but also in knowing which facilities take the different types of payments. Some places take only private pay, which is out of your pocket. Some places will allow you to do Medicaid. Veterans benefits are really probably the most misunderstood. If you are a veteran or a spouse of a veteran, you do qualify for veteran assistance, and a lot of people don't really understand that. And so just knowing how to navigate the course and coming up with the different buckets of money that can all add together to create whatever your need is also part of the match that we're trying to put together.
Got it. Okay. Good to know. I think that's important for folks to remember and to realize. And so all of this and more will be talked about tomorrow. You've got two events, again, Terry Hayes, at the Marriott in Farmington.
They will be speaking at San Juan Rotary at noon.
Right.
And then 3 o'clock and 6 o'clock at the Marriott.
Those are the events
by Marriott.
Open to the public, right?
Open to the public.
Free events, just show up with your questions.
We will have conversation, cookies, and coffee.
The 3 C's.
So the 3 C's.
Okay. Good to know. Very good. Well, thank you both for coming in. I think it's an important topic. A lot of folks are dealing with it in our community, and it's an important topic to have and to raise awareness of. So thank you both very much.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Terry Hayes and Carol Chiarito, my guests here on KSJE. I'll be back with more in just a moment this morning. The time is 8:30.